what's the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? Let's talk about that today. Okay, so an irrevocable trust is one you can't change or you can't undo it. And a revocable trust is one that you can change or you can undo, okay? So revocable trust, often called a living trust, where it's kind of the common one. If you have older parents, they probably have a revocable trust. Or if you just go to a lawyer and say, I need a trust, he'll probably sell you a revocable trust, okay? And an irrevocable one is one that you can't change. So then a question that I get asked a lot is, well, what's an asset vault trust? What kind of trust do you do for asset protection? Well, it's kind of a combination, and I want to talk about that. So imagine instead of asking me what's an irrevocable or revocable trust, imagine you ask me, well, what kind of vehicle do you drive? Do you drive a car or a truck? Well, actually, I drive a Jeep Cherokee that's kind of a crossover. So it's a car, it's a unibody vehicle, but it's larger, kind of like an SUV. Now an SUV would be where you have two parts. You have the frame and then the body on top, okay, and it's typically larger. But I have a crossover that I drive. So what is it? What do I drive? Do I drive a car or a truck? Well, how do you answer that? And the answer is actually the long explanation that I just gave. And actually the answer for the kind of trust that's best for you to protect your assets is a longer answer. Yeah. Typically the best kind of trust is not just a revocable trust or irrevocable trust, it's a combination, and let me explain. So the way it can work is that why not be able to change everything? Okay, you want to be able to change who the beneficiaries are, maybe change who the trustee is, maybe you name maybe name your mom or dad as the trustee of this trust, and then that person gets older and maybe can't manage things anymore, and so you want to put someone else in place. Well, you want to be able to do that and have some flexibility. But there are some things that you don't want to change. You don't want to be in charge, you don't want to be the trustee, and you don't want to be the beneficiary, because you're running the risk then that creditors can get at whatever's in this trust then. So you lose the asset protection if you do that. And obviously, you don't want your creditors to be in charge, to be the trustee, and you don't want your creditors to be the beneficiary. Okay? So as long as you're not the trustee or beneficiary, and your creditors are not trustee or beneficiary, you can actually make other changes. You can say that a different state law applies. You can say that we want this to be in place for my kids for the next 50 years, or say that, well, they don't get everything right away when I die, but I want them to get it in 2 stages, or it's like different ideas. You can let your imagination go in terms of what you want to happen to your assets when you pass away. So the short answer again to the question, what's the difference between an irrevocable trust and a revocable trust? Irrevocable you can't change, revocable you can change, and what I do with an asset protection trust, with an asset vault trust, the kind of trust that I typically provide to my clients, is kind of a combination in the middle, and it has characteristics of both. So thanks so much for listening.